What's up, guys? So, I've had some requests for videos on certain topics, which I do enjoy, spreading what I know. I'd like to remind you guys that, I am self taught when it comes to my knowledge. So, do just keep in mind that I don't claim to know everything. I can only share what I do know, what I've learned through life experiences, as well as my personal research and talking to other people, things like that. So, I wanted to make a video as far as toxic relationships and what some of the causes of that can be, and what you can do if you are the poisoner or if you are the victim, as well as how to spot things. So now, if you look at what a healthy relationship is supposed to be, right? Your relationship, regardless of what type of relationship, okay, whether you are in a relationship with a significant other, or a family member, or coworker, friends, family, whatever, whatever the case may be, a healthy relationship should be one in which you have support. You are supported, you are encouraged. A relationship should be beneficial. If they're not adding to, they're taken away from. Everybody should have something mutually beneficial to bring to the table, and everyone should, have something to offer in a sense. I mean, you don't have a relationship based off of what someone can do for you, so that's not what I mean. But every connection in which you entertain in life should be beneficial for you, whether it's just they make you feel good and you get the benefit of that positive and genuine emotion that you feel when you're with the people, or whether you guys help each other out, learn, grow off each other, whatever the case may be. There needs to be a mutual exchange, okay, of communication, of acceptance, of love, and of benefit, okay. These relationships should be understanding. They should be progressing. They should be respectful and honest, and balanced in a sense. Everybody should have, within their relationships, they should have time. They should have timelines. They should have adequate time to really get to know people, to really understand people's character and their mannerisms, the way they move, okay, why they do what they do and they doing what they're doing, right? So a lot of times we do get kind of tricked into different types of relationships in which don't end up being beneficial or healthy or good for our mentality, our mental, right? So this is kind of how to spot maybe some of those relationships that are toxic and not so good for you before they start. Seeing those red flags, what to look for, and what should really be standing out to you. And maybe this will have you, in a sense, again, like I always say, we're products of our environment. A lot of people don't know things that they do or things that they've gone through in relationships are even considered toxic, because they come from toxic environments where that's just a normal way of life and that's just how it is. So a lot of people don't know that there's possibility of good relationships out there and good connections, and how to attract that and how to keep it, and nurture it and all of that those things. So a few things. So when you start seeing somebody, or we're gonna direct it mostly towards like in a relationship stance, but this again can be applied in any type of relationship. So when you meet somebody, say you meet someone you're interested, you guys go on a date, you guys meet online, you go on a date. Now in this date, and this can be guy or girl, okay, when you first meet somebody and immediately they're like head over heels in love, or you're Like, oh my God, I love them so much. I've never felt this way about anybody. And, I've never felt such butterflies and, just the man of my dreams and things like that. Or if, like, immediately there's just an intense attachment where, they can't live without you. They need to be texting and calling you every second of the day, even when you're at work, or else, the world's gonna end, or, they don't know if you love them anymore, or are you seeing somebody else, or you must not like them anymore. The excessive repetitive text messaging, blowing up the phone. Or if they get really short and upset with you if you didn't answer their call, or you didn't call them back right away, or what were you doing and how were you doing it and who were you doing it with. Or a lot of times they are very attention demanding, whether they're demanding it from other people, kind of attention whores, or whether they're, in your face all the time and they want to make sure that it's just the two of you together all the time when they're together. And, they don't want anyone else to distract from that connection, or, they don't think it's good that you hang out with them so much anymore. They want all of your time all the time, even when you're not with them. Now, these types of relationships are going to go nowhere very fast. Usually what they do is they bait and hook, right? So they might gas you up and make you feel like you're the hottest thing kicking. They might make you feel like, they've never loved such a love like this. You are the one and you are their soulmate, and whoop de whoop de whoop whoop. Okay. They may speak of marriage and children and serious commitment, within the first week, talking about getting a place together. They may overinvest their own self or their own time or their own money or whatever. They may want you to meet their parents right away, meet their family right away. They may want to meet your family right away and your friends right away, or your children right away. Or right away you guys are moving in together. Right away you guys are, but they're going through things and you're just trying to help, and coincidentally you like them anyway. So no, those are definitely all red flags of toxic relationships. So understand that, like, a lot of toxic relationships are because most of the time when you have a toxic relationship, one or both of the people in the relationship have some type of mental trauma. Okay, so this mental trauma can be stemmed from childhood, could be stemmed from, father relationships, mother relationships, abuse from past relationships, fear because of those things, or, when you go through something traumatic in the brain, your brain is naturally going to try to protect you. It's going to naturally try to protect itself, and it'll create what are called maladaptive behaviors. So maladaptive behaviors are, they're bad things that you own and you carry and pick up as, whether it's personality traits or whether it's characteristics or behaviors, in order to protect yourself or make yourself feel better. So these maladaptive behaviors a lot of times will look like isolation, drug abuse, vindictive personality traits, manipulation, acting out, retaliation. They might push away when they really don't mean to push and they really want to pull, but they don't like to get close to people. It can give them that commitment issues. Whatever the case may be. And these things, people don't just act like this for no reason. People aren't just born fucked up people. People, your brain is a pretty amazing thing. And when a child is born, their life from 0 to like 6, but realistically more like 0 to 3, that's a very crucial time in their lives. And the thing that's, you know, ironic about that is a lot of times, especially if you're the first child, depending on stability and, planning, that's the hardest time for a new parent, is learning through those first few years on what you're even supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, how to balance your life and your own struggles with relationships and with finances and responsibilities and family and coworkers and just life and health and everything when you are now as well having to learn how to be a parent. So I'm not knocking any parents because we're all human and that's what happens. But a lot of times that's one of the most unstable parts of, a lot of people's lives in parenting is the first few years. And what's going to happen as a child when you are born, your mind is kind of like fully receptive. It's kind of like fully open to all possibilities and direction, and through conditioning, very quickly conditioning of the mind through environment, through visual, through audio I don't know, through your senses. A baby's mind is going to adapt and conform very quickly to its environment and its surroundings. Again, because a baby can't talk, it can't get up and walk out, it can't get its own food or whatever, and therefore, if the parent or caregiver is not very attentive, maybe they leave them crying all the time, not just crying it out, but just neglect, or whether they're in a bad situation, where they're unstable, or they're in a bad relationship, an abusive relationship, whatever the case may be, the child's mind is going to begin to pull from all these different all these mental different tools to do whatever it needs to do in order to protect itself. And this is how people begin to have things like personality disorders. Your brain is kind of like multiple personalities when it's born. You have all of these options, and once you start to pull from these things, your mind, as a very small infant, is going to dictate and determine, for the most part, how you will be as an adult. And once your brain picks this path, or these makes these psychological decisions, unless a person puts a lot of time and effort and work, this path is going to be kind of chosen for the rest of your life. And you're going to go about this path with this set characteristics and traits that you grabbed onto when you were in, trauma and fear as a child, and it's going to keep that with you. It's going to keep that baggage. It's going to keep that boxed in mental and slavery, and it's going to play out in your relationships all throughout your life. Your childhood, growing up with your family, with your friends, relationships, marriage, parenting, all of those things. So it's important to be able to self-reflect. Meditation is really good for that. You can use different frequencies of music or sounds, lights, whatever the case may be, sent to bring yourself balance, ground yourself in your source, Father God, in Allah, in Mother Earth, just grounding yourself for yourself or in your higher self. If you're not, if you don't believe in whatever, that's beside the point. Self-reflection is always a good idea, so that you can take a step back from yourself and look at the things and situations in your life, so you can see what's going on and how to best address them, right? Now, a majority of people who treat people bad is because they're hurting inside, right? Hurt people, and that is true. They don't know how to express the things that they feel. So now at this point, we're grown people. You can't change a grown man, and you're not going to change a grown woman. Even teenagers, they have to have that in themselves and recognize that within themselves. Because if someone doesn't recognize a maladaptive behavior within their own self, they're never going to change that, because they don't see what's wrong with it to begin with. And more than likely, they'll play the victim all the time. So there's certain red flags you want to look out for. Narcissism and manipulation are probably again, I don't know this number. This is my guesstimate. I would say narcissists are one of the biggest parts of toxic relationships, because they will, throw their bait out there and they'll hook you and they'll get you super sucked into their love, and, make you feel like you're the most amazing thing that's ever happened to them, and make you feel like, they've never loved anyone like this before, and they'll do it so quickly. You guys don't even know each other. And next thing you know, they're moving in with you and they're using your car, and you guys this and that, and you've already had sex and you've already kissed and you've already, making plans, and you know each other for like 6.5 days. Like, whoa, it's not you. You're not. It's really not you. It has nothing to do with you, honestly. They're feeding their ego. They always need that constant supply of validation and reassurance that they are hot shit, and they probably are. They come off usually pretty arrogant, pretty confident. They're the ones who are going to explode out of nowhere, or a lot of times they're really criticizing of you, judgmental, gaslighting you, or they give you a lot of guilt trips, like if they do something wrong, and next thing you know, you guys are fighting over something you did last week or whatever the case may be. A lot of times they love bomb, like I said, usually to get you, or if they feel like they're losing you, they'll change just enough to keep you, just to get right back to doing what they're doing. They're probably cheaters. They're, people who lie a lot, pathological liars a lot of times are narcissists. They will, they'll open up to you in the beginning, and they'll seem like they're being genuine, and they're pouring out their heart, and they're, telling you all these deep stories and emotional, experiences, and, how much pain they've been through, and, all their victim mentality, warped, experiences in life, that have caused them to really kind of maybe start believing in their own lies. These are things that you need to look for in toxic relationships. Also, if you are weak, if you are codependent, if you are insecure about yourself, you are easy prey for these types of relationships and for these types of people, because they feed off of you. They feed off your empathy. They feed off of your need for that love and attention, and your easy target. And every time, they're gonna build you up to let you down. They're gonna throw you against the wall just to pick up the pieces and put you together again, and do it all over again with these terrible cycles. They are going to isolate you from your family and friends. All of a sudden they don't like them. They don't think you should be hanging out with them. They're a bad influence. Or, every time you go over here, you do this. So that it ends up where they just want you and them. They just want to make sure that nobody else has your time, because, and you never know, you can be with your cousins or your brothers or your family, and they're insecure and they're jealous and they're blowing up your phone, and they don't understand why you're not answering, and why aren't you texting them back enough, and why did you take 3 minutes to answer, or whatever, okay? It's kind of like emotional roller coasters up and down. They want to avoid confrontation. Anytime you bring something to them, blows up in your face. It doesn't matter how you present it. It doesn't matter, how serious it is or what it's even about. It's either going to blow up in your face, or it's going to be turned into, a shit show, or, it's going to be turned into something that's all about them. They want all the attention all the time, good or bad. As soon as you catch them in something, they got to become a victim. So everything is going to be turned upside down in order to ensure that happens. So at the end of the day, you're the one left feeling insecure and shitty about yourself. You're the ones who are going to start to, being gaslighted so much, start to question your own reality and your own truths and things that and start wondering if you're crazy. Maybe they're right. Am I really tripping? Maybe I am overthinking it, and this is all part of the process. A lot of times, especially once you're really intertwined with a toxic relationship, these people are going to have double standards. They're going to be hypocrites. They're going to probably be pretty ruthless, pretty savage, pretty mean, pretty straightforward, pretty not very nice usually. You know, they usually will make you feel pretty bad about yourself, put you down a lot, be pretty verbally abusive, try to avoid any kind of situations where they have to accept the responsibility for the things that they've done, or where they may have to apologize. Okay. They don't have any sense of boundaries, any sense of privacy. You know, they probably tend to tell a lot of stories. They probably fib a lot, over exaggerate in their stories. You know, you'll be with your man and he's telling a story to his friends and you're like, wait, half of that didn't happen. Why are you being so dramatic? You know, because they want that hold on people, you know. Now, they, a lot of times, you know, they know how to just hook you right, and how to, they're good at reading you, so they know how to hook you right, how to push the right buttons, how to say the right things to get you if they need to, or, you know, push you away. They delay that gratitude and the response that maybe someone would normally give in a healthy relationship, that reassurance to their partner, you know. It's always about them. Okay, they seem to want to use, you know, when they get to know you in the beginning, and they seem so loving and caring, they get to know all the pain inside of you, you know, all the things that you've been through and all your experiences. And, you know, what they'll do is they take your pain and they take your secrets and they twist them when they need to, and they use them against you, or they blackmail you with them, because when they leave, it will be hell. You just got to pray for the storm to end. You know, anyways, so no. So it's really important to recognize the red flags in these relationships, because they're going to show themselves very, very quickly. But they will convince you that it is as good as it seems. And, you know, love can really be so great so soon, and that soul connection or whatever. No, slow down. Okay. Understand that healthy relationships take time. Every relationship requires a solid foundation. A solid foundation can only be built by putting in work, by taking time to make a plan, to understand what it is that you're building, the type of structure you're building, what type of foundation it requires. It requires you to have trust. It requires you to have knowledge of who this person is, who they hang around, how they operate, their characteristics, their mannerisms, their mental capacity and processing, their, you know, the things that trigger them, you know, all of these things, so that you can decide, first of all, is this even somebody that you like? Is this the real character? I always recommend, you know, before you date somebody, lend them money or borrow money from them. Money will tell a lot of things about somebody. You know, how they act when you owe money or when they owe you money. They dip in and dodge, and then they probably avoid conflict. And they probably like to be the victim a lot. You know, there's certain things that you can do to test the waters, so to say. You know, or let them know, you know, I'm not having sex until we decide to be together, or whatever the case may be. See how they really feel. If they find someone quick and in a jiffy to feed that need in them. You know, do they always criticize you or talk shit about what you like or what you do or how you do it? Do, you know, when you got together, they like the way you dress, and then when you're together, it's showing too much. Do they try to change you? These are all things that are that an unhealthy relationship and a toxic relationship, you know, are made of. You know, are they physically abusive, mentally, all of these things? Okay, a healthy relationship should have open communication, acceptance, you know, with no need to judge, or, you know, that you don't feel judged, or you feel like you can be yourself, that it brings you more than not, you know, the feelings of peace and happiness and balance and harmony and excitement, you know, more so than all you guys do is argue and you don't even know this person, but for a couple weeks. You know, it takes time and knowledge of each other, knowledge of, you know, what you guys have been through in the past and what hurts you, and You know, it gives you support, and it's intimacy, and it's reassuring, and it's honest, and it has that healthy boundary of time apart, and understanding that the world is not all about them now, and understanding there's other relationships and situations in which they had outside of you before they met you that they're not going to just drop. Okay, now when you deal with these relationships, if you do not choose to immediately walk away, because again, you cannot change a grown person. The only way which they can change, the only way to truly change these people is for them to change themselves, for them to become aware and acknowledge the behaviors and the patterns and the cycles and the bullshit that they're continuing to bring to every single relationship. Because until you change yourself, you're going to continue to be in and attract the same relationships with different people. Same bullshit, different person. Because you are not changing the core root of the problem. Okay? These people are usually going to try to, trick you into being with them, manipulate you into being with them, and then they're going to begin to demand and take the control, usually in a very malignant and not nice way. They're going to make they're going to deteriorate your mental strength. They're going to take away your confidence. They're going to question your abilities, and sometimes even blatantly disrespect and lie to make you feel bad about yourself, set you up for failure on purpose, set you up for all these tests of theirs. They're going to piss you off, and they're going to, push your buttons just to see what happens if you leave, or if you cheat, or, if they're going to catch you on a lie. And if you realize that that's what they're doing and you call them out, then they're going to make sure everything's turned upside down, to where, again, they're feeding their ego. They're the victim, and they're the ones who are hurt and devastated. And, the whole, everything is lifted from them and put back on you. Okay? They want you to have less power, because the less power you have, the more they have. You have to pay attention. You have to be assertive. You have to put your foot down. No is no. You set boundaries and make sure that they're followed. And if they cannot follow those boundaries, there will be either repercussions, or you will no longer be entertaining this relationship, because people will only do what you allow them to do, and you must take back that control. Don't fall for their guilt trips. A lot of times when someone, okay, this is a big thing too, in abusive, toxic relationships. If you are with someone who tends to be a pathological liar, or a manipulator, and a narcissistic person, when they're lying, they're going to blow up. Can't see their phone. They're not going to say it again. They're not going to show you again. They're not going to tell you anything. They are going to blow up, and they're going to turn it back on you, and they're going to make sure that you feel like a piece of shit. In a healthy relationship, when you think that they lied to you, or you think they cheated, or you think they did something that they shouldn't have done that was dishonest or hurtful to the relationship, they will show genuine care, compassion, and they will make sure to put importance on settling any dis-ease between the two of you, making sure to squash and alleviate any issues and any problems, and make sure that you clearly understand their intention and their loyalty to you and to the relationship. Anything but that reassurance, usually they're lying. And usually when they lie, especially when they lie about the little things, they're lying about the big things. And these things is because, like, if you know about energy and metaphysics, you know that everything in life is vibrational energy and frequencies. Now, keep in mind, two things cannot coexist at the same vibration. So they are going to feed off of you to help elevate themselves, suppress you, bring you down to their level, while they still get a little bit of enhancement. They feed off of your energy. They need you to survive, and it's not even you, it's just the energy inside of you. Especially if you're codependent, if you're weak, if you went through a breakup, if you are, real quiet and shy, or you don't stand up for yourself, you're real submissive, whatever the case may be, you are easy target and easy prey for them. If you are emotionally, traumatized, they feed off of that. Now, the majority of these people, you have to remember, the reason I say that usually by the time you're in a relationship with them, a grown relationship, they're not really going to change, because people don't want to accept these things. And at this point, it's pretty hard to change habits, especially changing your mind. Maladaptive behaviors, bad things that we do, are usually lifelong cycles that we've gone through. So, majority of the time, people are not willing to look at themselves. And if they are so quickly falling back and digressing into their same old habits as soon as shit hits the fan, or as soon as things get too hard to deal with. Those are their coping skills, their coping mechanisms are going back to those same things. They don't have much will and strength inside of them to continue to work on those things. Dialectic behavioral therapy is a great way to start, but put yourself first. Recognize these relationships so that you don't become a victim and fuck up your own mentality and traumatize yourself for the love that really is waiting and beneficial for you. You deserve it. You don't deserve anything, none of that bullshit, none of the lies. If someone's gonna love you, they're gonna love you right. They're not gonna love you at all.